The card that I'm working on right now is the Seven of Wands, and I think it's one of the perfect cards for right now. And it features a person that is on a hill or on a platform, and they're defending themselves against all these wands. So it's about having the courage to stand up for yourself or to stand up for others and to overcome your challenges or obstacles that are in your way. So the next card that I want to look at is from the 78 Tarot Elemental. And this is a cool card because it says a lot about the timing of speaking up for yourself. Because the little girl she was in bed, she's in pajamas, so she wasn't really prepared. She wasn't really ready, but she still needed to take a stance. And I love what it says in the book about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that. It says, there are days when it seems as though no matter what you do, it's wrong. Challenges all around, trying to tear you down. But you're stronger than they are. This is your time, so stand your ground. Remind yourself how far you've come and that this is just one more trial on your journey. You're tenacious, creative, a passionate badass. Consider new ways of getting past this hurdle and you'll overcome it easily. So yeah, we do need to be creative sometimes. We do need to think outside of the box and challenge our obstacles and challenge the things that are coming against us in different ways. And I think that card represents that really well. So that's why I included that one. And then from the 78 Mythical Tarot, I like this one because it has a kind of a different perspective. And so it has a Minotaur on it. And the story of the Minotaur is just basically, I'll summarize it. It's a guy who was crossed with a bull as a punishment to King Minos. And so of course there's more to the story than that. But basically what's going on in this picture is that these people are challenging this bull, this Minotaur, and they're looking at its actions because the Minotaur consumes human flesh. And the Minotaur is really a human being trapped inside of this bull and has to survive based on what was done to it, based on the situation that it's in.
I'm saying I'm an insect who dreamt he was a man and loved it. But now the dream is over and the insect is awake.
So there's a human side to it that's kind of trapped in this system. And I think that's important to understand as we move along here. And I'll bring that up again. So speaking of challenging systems, the next card that I want to look at is from the Physics Tarot. And it has a crystal, a quartz crystal. And I think that's really cool because how we apply our energy is important. Crystals store energy. They're used in different components to store energy and then focus that energy. So when we have the energy to stand up against something, it's important how we use that energy and how we focus it to strengthen our cause. Because if it's applied in the wrong way, then it can be damaging. So it's important to educate yourself on different things that could affect your overall message and what you feel is important. So the next card is from the Dust to Onyx. And this one also has, I include this one too because it also has crystals on it. And so that crystal is right over the face. And so storing the mental energy, being smart, being able to speak out in an effective way is really important. And then right above it, there's this crystalline pattern, which also emphasizes the importance of storing energy and using energy and focusing energy. Crystals are very good at focusing energy too. They have points and they have different parts that are used to kind of channel energy in different directions. And so the element that we're going to be talking about is rhodium. And I know that we have rhodonite and rhodochrosite. I think that's how you say it. And we're familiar with those, but they don't have rhodium in them, so they're not really related. So I wanted to point that out from the very beginning. They're just very different. They're named that because of the root of the word, which is rhodon, which means rose. And so they have that kind of rose color when they form their salts. But this element is one of the main elements used in catalytic converters. And so if we look at the Wonderful Life with the elements, we'll see that illustrated here. And so right here, it's a purifier. And it says a couple of interesting things here too. It says, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And it says, this admirable element supports others at the cost of its own fame. And so it does a job, but it doesn't really get a lot of recognition for it. But it does something that's very important. And one of those things is, like I said, being a air purifier in a catalytic converter. So we know that our cars are these wonderful machines that we don't want to do without. We use them daily, and they produce pollution. But we use a catalytic converter so that we can limit the amounts of pollution that we put into our atmosphere. So the engine is a very efficient, very wonderful piece of machinery, but it does have its flaws. And so there has to be something in place to regulate it so that those flaws do not spill out into the world and cause issues. And so a catalytic converter does that. It takes the nitrogen and it pulls it from the oxygen to create nitrogen gas and oxygen gas, which are not toxic to the environment. And so it facilitates that. It works as a catalyst for changing those toxins so that they are not going to cause harm.
The reduction catalyst is the first stage of the catalytic converter. When a nitrogen oxide or nitrogen dioxide molecule contacts the catalyst, it causes the nitrogen-oxygen bond to break, so that an O2 molecule, a harmless product, is formed along with a nitrogen molecule. All of this happens on the surface of the catalyst.
And I think that that's a really interesting message that relates to the Seven of Wands, because the Seven of Wands also deals with systems. It deals with, when we think about the Minotaur was stuck in a system. It was a human in a system that was broken. It was not its choice, but it was involved in this. It got wrapped up in this. And that's quite unfortunate. When we have systems and they're not functioning correctly, they need to be modified so that things can work efficiently. And we have to stand up for that. It's not gonna happen on its own. If we look at pictures of cities before catalytic converters, they look way more polluted than when we started using them. And you can see that big difference. And that didn't happen just all of a sudden because we didn't pay attention to it. We had to do something. I'm a teacher, so like if there's a teacher that I know that's doing something wrong, I don't want them in the profession because it's bad for my students, first of all. Bad for their safety, bad for their education, just bad for their overall mental health. And I just don't want it there. So I don't want that person there. And so I'm glad that the system is set up to get rid of them. And I will never stand up for them, and I will never support them. And so it goes the same way with police. And I think that where a lot of people get things wrong is they think that people are protesting against police officers when they're protesting against the ones that are in the system that are a part of the broken part of it and are overshadowing and causing issues for the human side of it. And so you see all these people down here. Some of these people see the human side of it and they're protesting the system. And then some people don't, of course. They're ignorant and they don't understand. But I think we just have to be more like what we see on the Seven of Wands. And we have to continue to, even if our opinions are not wanted at this particular time, we have to continue to express them and to put them out there, because just like a catalytic converter, if you don't put it on the car, it won't do anything. It's just a piece of metal. But at the same time, if we're not going to be using it, its value drops. And so it fluctuates a lot. Now, there are some things going on right now where rhodium might be used in a different way. Right now, we can store the sun's energy in solar cells, but there is a chemical way to store the sun's energy. And they're using rhodium as one of those catalysts in order to do that. And so it still has that potential. There will be a new cause. There'll be a new thing that needs to be transformed. When we see an issue, we have to fix it. And sometimes I think some systems and some organizations lag behind and they become It becomes a part of their tradition. It becomes a part of what they are, part of just a normal part of life, which should not be normal. And we have to see those things and have the courage to stand up and to change those things and challenge those things. And so I think that a good crystal to work with, other than quartz, which I mentioned here, another good one is pyrite. And so I just want to read a little bit of information about pyrite. And so it just has some different qualities. It's first of all, it's Leo and Mars, and the planet and the sign that represent the Seven of Wands is Leo and Mars. And so when you think about Leo, it has courage. It's a lion. And you think about Mars, Mars is a warrior, so it's fighting. So it's this courageous warrior, and that's really important. And this energy of pyrite is very similar. So Mars actually is represented by iron as well. So it's beneficial for energy, diplomacy, despair, fatigue, inferiority complex, servitude, inadequacy, cooperation. And it says down here that it's known as fool's gold. Pyrite comes from the Greek for firestone because it was believed that pyrite, a sparking stone, held fire in its core. An excellent energy shield, pyrite blocks out negative energy and pollutants at all levels, preventing energy leaks from the physical body or protecting subtle and physical bodies and deflecting harm. It creates a positive outlook. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about with the Seven of Wands. And so thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Will. This is Atypical Tarot. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.